Hello friends, and welcome to another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video. This is Thaddeus from Going Nerdy. Today we're going to be talking about Ahsoka Tano Fulcrum. We're going to go over her abilities, her stats, and talk about some potential teams that you can put her on. This is her character from the Rebels TV show. This Ahsoka Tano Fulcrum is not a Jedi. She is listed as a Rebel, a light side person, and an attacker, and she is probably one of the stronger attackers in the game, and by that I mean more survivable attackers, or an attacker who can survive for long periods of time if she's on the right team, and we'll talk about the right team a little later on. But let's first get into her stats. I think one of the things that you're going to want to know right off the bat is her health, her protection. She's about average for the game as far as characters go, but what really helps her to stand out is her basic speed is 148, and I believe that puts her just shy of like 20th in like level, but a starting speed of 148 is pretty solid. That's before mods and everything else, but she is a fairly fast character. You throw some mods with some speed on her, and she starts attacking pretty dang quick. As far as the gear cost, she does need 4 raid pieces, 440 gold pieces, 1,400 purple pieces, 228 blue pieces, 100 green, and 98 white. So essentially, I think the key point to take away from this is she needs 4 raid pieces to get her to 11. That's going to be tough unless you are doing the heroic tank raid every other day with your guild. Then for the rest of us, we're not going to see a gear 11 Ahsoka for quite some time. But that doesn't mean you can't gear up to 8 to 10 and still have a viable character. Her abilities, she has 4 abilities. Her basic ability, Balanced Strike, deals physical damage to target enemy, gains protection up 40% for 2 turns, and grants protection up 40% to a random ally that doesn't have it for 2 turns. That's one of those things that helps her survive quite a bit. So every time she does a physical attack, if you put her on a Retribution team where she does her basic attack more often, she's going to continually get protection up. Her second special ability, Meditate, Ahsoka gains Foresight, Retribution, and each non-unique buff, excluding Taunt, present on other allies for 2 turns. Then gains 15% turn meter for each buff on her. Now, there are over 10 or non-unique buffs in the game. Last I heard there were 12. There might be 12, I'm not entirely sure. But there's quite a few. And if you put Ahsoka on the right team, she can get almost a dozen buffs. So if she's gaining 15% for each turn meter that's on her at the end of that use, then hey, guess what? She gets to go again almost immediately, which allows her to use her next ability, which is called Whirlwind. Now, this has a 3-turn cooldown when it is maxed out, which is at a Zeta level, and reads, consume all buffs on Ahsoka and deals physical damage to target enemy. This attack scores an additional hit for each type of buff consumed. The target cannot evade and has a minus 50% armor against this attack. If you have 10, if you have 12, that is going to be a devastating blow. If Ahsoka is landing crits each time, then it's just powerful. This is going to knock even tanks down. You're going to have a ton of tanks, highly geared to defend against Ahsoka, or you're just going to want to take her out as quickly as possible. But you're going to want to take her out with someone who doesn't use damage over time, because her 4th ability, Perseverance, Ahsoka is immune to damage over time effects. So guess what, Vader? You're out of luck, buddy. And every other person who deals damage over time, which you've seen a ton of them pop up recently, it seems like. And she gains 30% critical avoidance. At the end of each turn, Ahsoka dispels all debuffs on herself and loses 10% health for each debuff dispelled. That's kind of a scary thing. So if she has 5 debuffs, she could lose 50% of her health, right? Then recovers 5% health for each buff on her. This health loss can't defeat Ahsoka. It can bring her down to 1%, but it can't kill her, which, there's a silver lining to that, I guess. So those are her abilities. The Perseverance scares me, but is also kind of a cool thing to see with the damage over time teams that have been cropping up lately. And now I kind of want to shift gears a little bit and talk about what teams we are going to potentially see her on. Now, right off the bat, she works with a lot of different abilities, or she is one of those characters that really fits in pretty much anywhere. She is kind of like a Kylo Ren who is a Swiss Army knife type character who can really fit in a lot of great teams. But you want to definitely put her on a team that has a solid buff-giving group. So I've been scouring the forums looking for people's ideas, and there were a bunch that I came across, and I kind of wanted to share this with you guys. She's a rebel, so if you put her on a rebel team that gives rebel characters abilities, you're solid. That's going to be sweet, right? Because she gets those abilities. Throw her on with Jyn, Chase, and Cassian, or Jyn, Chirrut, and Baze, Cassian, and Fulcrum. You're going to have quite a bit of turn meter going. In a team like that, Fulcrum would be able to do Whirlwind pretty much instantly against anyone other than a Sith team due to Cassian's buff. Then Jyn gives 100% turn meter back, and she could do it again. That's pretty sweet, right? You can switch out Cassian with R2-D2, throw her in with a Rex lead with the same type of team. R2-D2 makes for a better anti-Zol. Sticking with the Rebels, if you have the Wigs combo, so Biggs and Wedge, Chase, right, and Fulcrum, that's going to be a very, very powerful team. But again, she works on a number of other teams. I see here there's, if you put her with a Maul lead, Zeta Maul, with Nihilus, Sith Assassin, Zeta Savage, and Fulcrum, as well as, I mean, she's going to do great with probably Yoda and pretty much anyone she's going to do well with that can give her an additional buff. Now, she does have some weak spots. Boba Fett's Execute deals physical damage to enemy and dispels all status effects on them, then deals 30% more damage for each effect dispelled. Enemies defeated by this can't be revived. If she has 12 or 10 buffs on her and then he uses his ability, she's gone. I mean, that's a powerful hit. And if he kills her that way, then there's no coming back for Ahsoka. And that's definitely something to be wary of. Nihilus, his Annihilate also kills pretty quickly. She won't be able to come back from that. So there are counters to this Ahsoka Tano ability, or this Ahsoka Tano that we are getting, but she's still going to be sweet. And for the most part, most people are going to just love this character. I really think the developers did a good job bringing her in. But with all of the nerfs that we've seen so far, are we going to see a nerf on her eventually? Maybe 2-3 months in, once someone figures out the best combo that allows her to take the Rancor out in one hit. I mean, is that going to happen? Potentially, who knows? With EA and the Star Wars group, I think possibly, But still, this is a very awesome character. I'm very excited for Ahsoka. She's definitely one of my favorite characters in the game. I am a huge fanboy of Ahsoka. I think her backstory is great. Her back and forth. And in Season 2 of Rebels, her storyline was amazing. No spoilers, but still, awesome story. So Ahsoka is coming to us at a 3-star. When we unlock her, she will only be 3 stars. And so it will take some time for most people to get her to 7-star. Most people won't be able to farm her for at least 3 months. I'm assuming there will be packs and bundles that come with Ahsoka, but if you are not a whale, then spending the money on her is probably not something that most people are going to do. But I am looking forward to her. I am excited about this character. Ahsoka is one of my fan favorites for sure. Love her storyline. But what do you think about her? Are you excited for this new character? Or do you think she's going to get nerfed in a few months? Are you looking forward to using her? What teams would you put her on? Leave comments in the section below. Let us know what you think. This has been Thaddeus from Going Nerdy, and as always, stay nerdy, my friends.